Right now, before you change anything, before you fix anything, notice something simple. You're here. Even if your mind is running in circles, even if your heart feels heavy, you are still breathing, still listening, still hoping. That part of you is wise. That part of you is not confused. Clarity isn't something you chase. It settles on you when you stop thrashing around. It arrives the way dust settles when you finally set the box down. And if you've been feeling foggy, stuck, or unsure, it may not be because you're doing life wrong. It may be because you've been resisting what is. So let's begin gently, not with force, with a soft opening. Take one slow breath, the kind that lets your shoulders drop a millimeter. And as you exhale, let this land inside you. This is what's here right now. Not, this is what will always be. Not, this is what I deserve. Just, this is what's here right now. Feel what happens when you say that. Maybe your body loosens. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, you're beginning. Resistance is sneaky. It often wears a costume that looks like productivity, like responsibility, like I'm just trying to figure it out. But underneath, resistance is the inner argument with the present moment. It's the quiet insistence that now should be different. And that is exhausting. You might be resisting your current situation, your emotions, your body, your timing, the fact that you don't know what's next yet. You might be resisting the past, replaying it like a scene you wish you could rewrite. You might be resisting yourself, wishing you were more healed, more confident, more together. Here's the tender truth. When you resist what is, you create a second layer of pain on top of whatever is already here. The first layer is the circumstance. The second layer is the fight, and the fight is optional. This doesn't mean you like what's happening. It doesn't mean it, and you approve of it. It doesn't mean you're giving up. It simply means you stop arguing with the fact that it's happening. You let yourself be on the page you're on. And that is where clarity begins. Imagine you're driving in fog. Your instinct might be to speed up, to grip tighter, to get through it. But speeding up doesn't create visibility. The wise thing is to slow down, breathe, and let your eyes adjust. The fog doesn't lift because you yell at it. It lifts when the conditions change. And sometimes the condition that needs to change is inside you. Acceptance is that inner shift. And acceptance is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's not settling. Acceptance is a steady yes to reality as it is, so you can respond wisely instead of reacting wildly. It's like planting your feet on the earth before you decide which direction to walk. When you deny the ground, you wobble. When you accept the ground, you can move. There's a big difference between acceptance and resignation, and I want you to feel it in your bones. Resignation feels flat. It feels like you've gone numb. It says, nothing matters, so why try? Acceptance feels awake. It says, This is here, and I can meet it with dignity. Acceptance keeps your heart open, even when you're protecting it. Acceptance keeps you connected to your own life. Think of a snow globe. When you shake it, everything swirls and you can't see. That's what resistance does inside you. Thoughts spin, emotions spin, what if spins, and you keep looking for an answer in the middle of the swirl. But if you set the globe down, if you let it be, those tiny particles begin to settle. Without forcing anything, you can see again. Acceptance is setting the globe down. So how do you do it when life feels messy, when your heart feels raw, when your mind won't stop? You keep it honest and simple. Honesty sounds like, this is hard, this is here, I feel this, I don't like it, but I can be with it. Feel the difference between that and, this shouldn't be happening, I can't handle this, I have to get rid of this right now. One creates space, the other tightens the knot. Here's a moment you might recognize. You send a message to someone you care about, and hours pass. Your mind starts filling the silence with stories. You assume you've done something wrong. You check your phone again and again, like checking can control time. What's really happening is resistance to uncertainty, resistance to not knowing. And the moment you stop fighting the uncertainty, your power returns. You can say, I don't know yet, and I can still breathe. I can still be kind to myself. I can choose peace in this moment. That is not giving up. That is coming home. Another place resistance shows up is with your body. You look in the mirror and immediately your mind critiques. You tell yourself you'll feel worthy later when you've changed something. You're allowed to stop doing that to yourself. Acceptance here might sound like, this is my body today, and I choose to treat it with tenderness. Not because you're pretending everything is perfect, but because your body has been carrying you through everything, through heartbreak, through stress, through long days, through nights when you couldn't quiet your thoughts. When you stop resisting your body, you stop leaking energy into shame, and that energy becomes available for clarity, for creativity, for love. Now you might wonder, if I accept what is, won't I just stay here? Sweetheart, no. Resistance does not create change. Resistance creates burnout. Acceptance is what allows change to happen without you breaking yourself in the process. Think of a gardener. If a seed hasn't sprouted, the gardener doesn't dig it up every day to see if it's working. The gardener waters, tends, waits, trusts. Not because the gardener is passive, but because the gardener understands timing and nature. You are a living process. You are not a machine that must produce certainty on demand. When you accept what is, you become present, and from presence, the next step becomes clearer, often a smaller, kinder step than the anxious mind keeps demanding. Because the anxious mind wants a 10-step plan, the wise heart wants one honest step. And here's something important. What contains information? Your body contains information. Your life contains information. If you're busy fighting, you can't hear what's being shown to you. If you feel drained in certain environments, that's information. If you feel a gentle expansion when you imagine a certain direction, that's information. If you tighten around a commitment, that's information. If you keep repeating the same pattern in different outfits, that's information. Clarity is often the recognition of what has been true all along. So let's work with a very simple practice you can use in real time, anywhere, even in the middle of a busy day. First, name what is, quietly. This is what's happening. This is what I'm feeling. This is where I am. Second, feel it in the body. Where does it live right now? Tight throat? Heavy chest, buzzing belly, clenched jaw, just notice. No fixing. Third, offer yourself one compassionate phrase. It's okay to feel this. I'm here with you. That's it. This is not about solving. It's about meeting. And when you meet yourself, you stop abandoning yourself. You stop leaving your own side. That alone can clear so much fog. Because confusion often comes from self-abandonment, ignoring your truth, rushing your feelings, judging your needs, pretending you're fine. Clarity loves honesty. Clarity loves kindness. Clarity does not thrive in self-attack. Sometimes the mind says, but if I stop fighting, I'll lose control. And that's such an understandable fear. Control can feel like the only thing holding you together. But control is often a tight grip on life, and life doesn't bloom in a tight grip. Life blooms in open hands. There's a softer kind of strength available to you. It's the strength of being with what's real. It's the strength of saying, I can feel this and still be okay. It's the strength of allowing a wave to pass without trying to stop the ocean. Maybe you've been trying to make a decision and you've been spinning. You ask everyone. You make lists, you replay conversations, you try to get it right, but the more you push, the more foggy it gets. Often that's not lack of intelligence, it's pressure. It's the demand for certainty. It's resistance to the fact that you can't see the whole path yet. So soften the demand. You can say, I don't need the whole path. I only need the next kind step. Then, instead of forcing a huge decision, you take a smaller one. You gather one piece of information. You have one honest conversation. You rest. You set one boundary. You do one thing that honors you. And suddenly the fog isn't gone, but you can see a little farther, and a little farther is enough. Clarity isn't always a lightning bolt. Sometimes it's a lamp turning on in a hallway. There's also a deeper reason acceptance helps. When you resist, your nervous system reads the moment as unsafe. The breath becomes shallow. The mind gets loud. You go into survival mode. And in survival mode, you don't perceive subtle guidance. You scan for threats. This is why calming the body can calm the mind. And when the mind quiets, you can finally hear the whisper of your intuition. Intuition is rarely frantic. It's steady. It may be quiet, but it's clear. It feels like a gentle yes or a gentle no. It feels like relief, even when the choice is brave. So if you want clarity, begin by giving yourself safety in the moment. You can do that with breath, with touch, placing a hand on your heart or belly, with unclenching your jaw, with a soft sentence like, I am here. I am safe enough in this moment. Not because life is perfect, but because you are present, and presence is power. Resistance often hides in, I'll be okay when I have the relationship, when I have the certainty, when I have the sign, when I have the permission. And that kind of thinking pushes your peace into the future like a prize you have to earn. But peace isn't a prize. Peace is a practice. You're allowed to feel okay now, even as you grow. You're allowed to love yourself now, even as you change. You're allowed to be worthy now, even while you're still figuring things out. Let this contrast help you. Resistance says, I need life to change so I can feel better. Acceptance says, I can meet this moment with kindness, and from that place, I can choose what changes. One begs the world for relief, the other claims your inner authority. And you do have inner authority, even if you don't feel it yet. Now let's bring in something you may have noticed on your spiritual path. The more you push, the more life feels like it's pushing back. The more you demand answers, the more the answers seem to hide. That's not life punishing you. That's life asking you to soften. Your energy has a language. Your body has a language. Your thoughts have a language. And when your inner language is clenched, when it's frantic and desperate, the world often feels clenched too. But when you shift into allowing, something in your vibration changes. You stop shouting into life and start listening. You stop treating your days like a problem to solve and start treating them like a relationship you can trust. You don't have to understand every why to be aligned. Sometimes align me, that is simply being honest about where you are and choosing the next loving response. There's a practice for this because it turns resistance into wisdom. When you notice you're pushing, whisper to yourself, not forcing, allowing, not forcing the answer, allowing the answer, not forcing the outcome, allowing the right steps, not forcing myself to be different, allowing myself to be present. This isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the right thing from the right place. When you try to create your life from fear, you may notice you attract more fear because that's the frequency you're feeding. When you create from wholeness, when you remember you are already worthy, you may begin to attract experiences that match that steadiness. No pressure, no time limits, just an invitation to explore. What happens when you stop gripping? Sometimes you'll notice that the clarity you want isn't, what should I do? It's, what do I need? Those are different questions. What should I do can be full of other people's expectations, full of rules, full of proving. What do I need brings you back to your body, back to your truth, back to your own life, and your needs matter. If you were never taught that, I want you to hear it now. Your needs matter. Another gentle story. Maybe you've been avoiding a feeling by staying busy. You clean, you scroll, you help everyone else, you keep moving. And then, the moment you sit down, Your chest feels tight or your throat feels thick, and you immediately reach for distraction again. That's resistance too. Not because you're bad, but because you're protecting yourself. What if you didn't have to protect yourself from your own feelings? What if you could sit with that tightness for a few breaths and say, okay, you're here. I see you. Sometimes that's all a feeling needs, to be seen, to be acknowledged, to not be pushed away. And after it's seen, it often changes. It softens. It gives you information. It shows you a truth you've been trying not to know. That's how clarity arrives, through honesty, through presence, through gentle courage. This is also what people mean when they talk about doing inner work without making it heavy. The shadow isn't something scary. It's simply the parts of you that learn to hide, to stay safe. The parts of you that weren't welcomed. The parts of you that got judged. The parts of you that still want to be loved. Resistance often shows you exactly where those parts live. Wherever you feel yourself clench, wherever you feel yourself run, wherever you feel yourself go numb, there is usually a part of you asking for compassion. You don't have to dig. You don't have to force memories. You can simply meet what's here. And when you meet it, you integrate it. When you integrate, you become whole. And wholeness is clarity. Maybe you've noticed this in conflict. You're in a conversation, and the moment you feel misunderstood, your whole system tightens. You start explaining harder. You start defending. You reach for the perfect sentence that will finally make them get it. And the more you push, the more your words feel tangled. That's resistance too. Resist. Tance to being seen imperfectly. Resistance to not being able to control someone else's perception. Acceptance in that moment might sound like, I want to be understood, and I can't force it. I can only be honest. I can only be clear. I can stay kind to myself even if they don't like what I'm saying. When you accept that you can't control how you're received, you stop overperforming. You stop over-explaining. You speak from your center. And often, that's when you finally sound like you. Or maybe you've been resisting a season of not much happening, a quiet season, a season where you're doing the same routines, where results aren't obvious yet. Your mind calls it stagnation, but your soul might be calling it integration. Nature has seasons. Not every season is for blooming. Some seasons are for roots. Some are for rest. Some are for letting leaves fall so new growth has room. If you stop resisting a quiet season, you may start to notice the subtle work happening underneath. You may notice you're learning patience. You may notice you're becoming more discerning. You may notice you're no longer attracted to the things that used to hook you. That's growth, even if it doesn't look flashy. And in a quiet season, clarity can become very clean because there is less noise. Let's bring in a few more gentle reminders you can return to when your mind starts demanding certainty. I can be present without having all the answers. I can feel discomfort without making it mean I'm unsafe. I can allow this moment to be exactly what it is and still move forward with love. I release the habit of punishing myself for being human. I trust that what is meant for me will meet me as I meet myself. If any of those lines feel too big, soften them, make them yours. You could say, I'm learning, or I'm practicing, or I'm open to believing. Sometimes the most healing sentence is simply, I'm doing my best. And you are. Now here's a little visualization that can help you feel acceptance, not just think about it. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a lake at dawn. The water is still. In your hands, you're holding a handful of pebbles. Each pebble is a thought you've been gripping, a regret, a fear, a plan you're trying to force, a story about what should have happened, a worry about what might happen. Notice how your hands feel when they're full, heavy, tight, busy. Now, one by one, you let the pebbles fall into the lake. You don't throw them in anger. You simply open your fingers, plink, plink, plink. As each pebble drops, you feel a little more space in your hands, a little more warmth, a little more softness. And the lake doesn't fight the pebbles. It receives them. It ripples, and then it settles. That's you. You can receive your thoughts without fighting them. You can let them ripple, and you can let them settle. You don't have to chase every thought. You don't have to solve every feeling. You can allow and then choose. And after a few breaths, you might notice the dawn light getting brighter. Not because you forced the sun, but because time moved and you stayed present. That is what clarity often is. It's the light that comes when you stop gripping and you stay with what's real. Sometimes, when you stop resisting, you feel what you've been holding back. Tears might come, a long sigh, a wave of tiredness. That's your body releasing what it's been bracing against. Let it be gentle. Let it be natural. Maybe you've been trying to be positive, while something inside you is angry. You judge the anger and tell it to go away, but anger isn't a failure. Often, it's a boundary that hasn't been honored. It's a signal that something matters to you. When you stop resisting anger without acting it out, you can listen. It might say, I've been saying yes when I mean no. It might say, I've been tolerating too much. It might say, I'm ready to choose myself. That is clarity. Clarity isn't always soft. Sometimes clarity is firm. Sometimes it's a clean decision. Sometimes it's a boundary. But you can be firm without being cruel. You can be clear without being harsh. If you've been carrying grief, acceptance can feel especially tender. Grief often asks you to stop pretending you're fine. It asks you to stop rushing. It asks you to let love move through you in a different form. And when you let grief be present without judging it, you may discover something surprising. It doesn't destroy you. It moves like weather. It comes, it goes, it leaves you more honest than before. And in that honesty, you may realize what you truly value, what you truly want to protect, what you're ready to release. That is also clarity. Acceptance opens the curtain so the light can come in. It doesn't force the sun. It simply allows the light that's already there. So let's bring it back to the simplest form of acceptance, allowing yourself to be where you are in your process. If you're new to this, you're allowed to be new. If you've been on this path for a long time and you still feel lost sometimes, you're allowed to be human. If you're sensitive, you're allowed to be sensitive. If you're tired, you're allowed to rest. You are not behind, you are unfolding. And the moment you stop resisting your unfolding, you feel the soft permission, the inner exhale. In that exhale, the next step often appears. Sometimes the next step is small, drinking water, tidying one corner of your space, stepping outside and letting the air touch your face, turning off your phone earlier, writing down one truth you've been avoiding. Small steps are not insignificant. Small steps are how you build a life that feels like yours. And as you take those small steps, you begin to trust yourself again. You begin to feel, I can handle my life, not perfectly, not always gracefully, but lovingly. Trust is a muscle. Every time you meet yourself, instead of abandoning yourself, you strengthen it. And the stronger your trust becomes, the less you need to force clarity. It arrives naturally because you're no longer drowning it out with panic. Let's do a brief guided moment together. Let your breath slow just a little. Feel the air enter. Feel it leave. Now scan gently from your head down to your feet. Without changing anything, notice where you're bracing. And in that place, imagine warmth, like sunlight on skin, like warm water, like a hand that says, I'm not here to fight you, I'm here to understand you. Now speak to your life as it is. I'm willing to see you clearly. That sentence is powerful because when you're willing to see clearly, you stop bargaining with reality. You stop trying to make something be what it's not. And the moment you stop lying to yourself, clarity arrives, not as punishment, but as freedom. Hold your life like an open palm, not gripping, not squeezing, open, strong and gentle at the same time. And if you need a quick way back when resistance flares, try a simple, soft yes. Yes, this is here. Yes, I feel this. Yes, I can breathe with it. A soft yes doesn't mean you like it. It means you stop making war with it. It means you give yourself permission to be human in real time. And strangely, that permission is often the very thing that lets the moment shift. If you want one question to carry with you, let it be this. What would be the kindest next step for me? Not the most impressive step, not the biggest step, the kindest. Your kindest next step might be rest. It might be a boundary. It might be asking for help. It might be letting go of a plan that no longer fits. It might be forgiving yourself for being human. It might be returning to your own heart. Whatever it is, you'll feel it. You'll feel the quiet rightness of it. That feeling is your guidance. And if you forget, if you resist again, come back. Come back to your breath. Come back to your body. Come back to, this is what's here right now. You're not failing. You're practicing. May you release the need to wrestle the river. May you feel the ground under your feet. May you soften your grip and discover that life can meet you halfway. And may clarity come to you the way it truly comes, through your willingness to be present, through your courage to stop fighting what is, and through the quiet love you are learning to give yourself right here, right now.